Why did thousands of flights suddenly get canceled and delayed across the United States? And what it means for you and the global travel system. If you thought travel chaos was just a holiday week problem, buckle up. This goes much deeper than canceled seats. It started with a government shutdown. No one expected the ripple effect to hit airports like a tsunami, but it did. This story is not just about missed flights. It's about safety, power, political games, and the fragility of a system we all take for granted. All right, let's dive in. Unpacking how we got here, what's happening now, and why it matters to you, even if you're not about to board a plane. What happened? Over one weekend, the U.S. saw thousands of flights canceled or delayed. For example, one headline reported more than 5,000 flights disrupted Saturday amid shutdown staffing shortages. Here's how it broke down. On a single day, more than 2,100 domestic flights were canceled, and around 7,000 delays reported. ABC +2, Forbes +2. Another report said the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, announced across 40 major airports it would reduce commercial flights by up to 10%, starting just days later because staffing was stretched to the limit. AP News +2, ABC News +2, and crucially, this isn't because of weather. It's not a tech meltdown, though those exist elsewhere. This is about people, not enough certified air traffic controllers, many working without pay, many calling in sick. ALPB +1, why did this happen? Here's the background. The U.S. federal government shutdown began on October 1, 2025, after Congress failed to pass full funding measures. Wikipedia +1, during that shutdown, many non-essential government employees went unpaid or furloughed. But among the essential workers, air traffic controllers, TSA screeners, FAA staff were still on the job without pay. Over 13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 TSA officers are reported to be working unpaid. Reuters +1. Why does that matter? Because when workers feel financially stressed, morale drops, absences rise, and staffing becomes unreliable. According to data, some air traffic control towers issued staffing advisories, and the FAA itself said it needed to reduce flights to maintain safety. The Guardian +1. In short, the shutdown triggered a staffing crisis in the aviation system. What are the effects? Massive ripple effects. Here are a few key ones. Flight cancellations and delays are skyrocketing. On one day, more than 1,150 flights were canceled and 6,700 delayed. Reuters, another analysis showed more than 5,000 flights canceled in a single day during the shutdown. ABC +1 major airports hit hardest. Hubs like Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, Newark Liberty International Airport, and others saw the highest disruption rates. ALPB +1 safety concerns ramping. One of the reasons the FAA cut flights wasn't convenience, it was safety. Loss of separation between aircraft, reports of controller fatigue, and non-routine absences triggered warnings. ABC News +1 cascade into global travel. When U.S. hubs get disrupted, global itineraries suffer. Even non-U.S. operators routing through U.S. airports face knock-on effects. The Guardian holiday travel in jeopardy. With the busy Thanksgiving season ahead, the Transportation Secretary warned air traffic could slow to a trickle if the shutdown persists. ALPB +1 breaking down the mechanics. Let's walk through how this situation evolved in practical terms. The shutdown begins. Federal employees, including air traffic controllers, working without pay. Controller call-outs increase. Sick days, retirements accelerate. Staffing levels drop. FAA monitors system safety and sees risk. Too many towers short-staffed. Too many flights scheduled for available staff. FAA issues a directive to airlines at 40 major airports. Cut passenger flights by 4% starting Friday, ramping to 10% by mid-Nov. AP News airlines adjust schedules, cancellations, delays, rebookings. Some flights removed entirely. Passengers impacted across the board. Not just those flying that day, but future bookings, connection chains, global schedules get rattled. Political pressure mounts, airline industry, unions, lawmakers all point fingers. If shutdown continues, scenario worsens. More flight cuts, 15–20%, potential to close parts of U.S. airspace. ABC News why this matters globally and to you. Even if you're not flying from the U.S., global travel networks interlink. The U.S. is a major aviation hub, cargo channel, tourism gateway. Delays here ripple into Europe, Asia, the Middle East. Business travel, supply chains, perishable goods, all can feel the heat. For viewers, if you're planning a trip, connecting via the U.S. may be riskier. If you're shipping or trading, logistics may slow. If you're simply working or spending with companies impacted by travel, someone else's canceled flight might cost you. Who's to blame? And what's the politics? This is where it gets messy. On one side, enforcement agencies, FAA, DOT, saying they're reacting to safety risks, not politics. On the other side, lawmakers trading shots in the shutdown stalemate. Some point to Republicans for funding delays, others blame Democrats for demanding healthcare policy concessions. The effect? Everyday travelers stuck in the crossfire. Let's ask some questions. What happens if the shutdown stretches through the holiday peak travel period? Can the system absorb another wave of cancellations without spiraling into chaos? Will airlines preemptively reduce schedules further, or will the FAA cut deeper for safety? How will this impact global travel hubs that rely on U.S. connectivity? And for you, what would you do if your flight got canceled? Accept rebooking, turn to a road trip, cancel entirely. Some surprising stats to drop in your next conversation. The staffing shortages are credited with contributing to 84% of all flight delay minutes on one recent Sunday, up from about 5% pre-shutdown. San Francisco Chronicle. From Oct 1 to Nov 7, controller shortages disrupted more than 4 million passengers per industry data. OPB plus one FAA estimates, cutting flights by up to 10% across 40 high-volume markets could remove up to $268,000 seats in a day. AP News plus one walking through a real-world scenario. Imagine you booked a flight from San Francisco to New York for mid-November. Family holiday, theater trip, everything lined up. You get a message. Your flight's canceled because your carrier is complying with FAA reduction. You reschedule, but the next leg is delayed by over an hour. The connection is missed. You're stuck overnight, rental car gone, hotel costs up. Even if you survive this, the ripple means fewer seats available across the network, so pricing may spike, fewer options for swaps. What are the possible outcomes from here? If the shutdown ends quickly, staffing returns, the system recovers, cancellations taper off, backlog clears. If the shutdown drags on into holiday season, more severe reductions, airline schedule shakeups, higher ticket prices, worse delays, possible global substitution of routes. If disruptions become chronic, airlines start rethinking hubs, flights get rerouted. Global carriers adjust to avoid U.S. system bottlenecks. What to watch going forward? Congressional action, a funding deal that ends the shutdown. FAA advisories, number of facilities issuing staffing alerts. Airline schedule updates, which carriers cancel most flights, which airports get hit. Holiday travel booking trends. Are passengers moving to road or rail rather than risking air? Global airline routing changes. Are carriers shifting away from U.S. hub bottlenecks? What you can do as a traveler or viewer right now. Consider booking flexible or refundable tickets instead of deep discount non-changeable fares. If you must travel via U.S. hubs, build in extra buffer time between connections. Watch your airline's communications. Opt into alerts, check the day before and morning of. Explore alternative travel modes. If you're going U.S. domestic, bus or train may cost you less stress. Stay updated. I'll monitor the next few days, because what happens in Washington will absolutely land at your gate. Final take and why this matters. This isn't just about travel inconvenience. It's a stress test of U.S. infrastructure and institutional resilience. The shutdown isn't only political theater. It has material consequences. People working unpaid, vital systems fraying, families missing flights, businesses losing deals. For a channel like ours, tracking global affairs, it's a perfect storm of politics, economics, and infrastructure linking local behavior, controllers calling out, to global effects, flight networks. Every time you book a flight, upload a cargo manifest, connect to global supply, or schedule a business meeting, you rely on systems working smoothly. Right now, that assumption is under pressure. If you ask me whether we're headed for travel apocalypse, not yet. But the warning lights are flashing red. If the shutdown keeps dragging, what we're seeing now could look tame compared with what comes. And that means buckle up, stay alert, maybe reconsider that big flight you've been planning. Let me know in the comments if your flight has been canceled or delayed in the last week. Tell us where and what happened, and if you'd change your travel plans now given what's going on. Also, if you found this video helpful, hit like, share with someone planning travel, and subscribe so you don't miss the next update. Because what happens here in the US won't stay only in the US. It affects the world, and in our connected age, nobody sits out of the ripple effect. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one.